I am quite appalled by a certain persistent and dominant image of African children in Western media. It is often that image of a child who is begging for aid and donation. It is the image of the African child caught up in war zones. It is the image of the child dying of hunger. I have seen this image in Amsterdam's Schiphol airport. I have seen this image replicated in a different form in Wannsee train station in Berlin. And I have seen this image in various other multinational non-governmental organizations that deal with Africa and children. A survey of African children from an African perspective, or just employing a little nuance, shows how diverse children in Africa are. These are children suffering from obesity. There are children who are YouTube sensations. There are children dancing ballet in Nigeria. And there are children in Tanzania who affirm their own agency. There are children singing in South Africa. These events are repeated in a variety of activities. But it is often the case that when there is need to define European philanthropy, the West employs a seasoned Western photographer who comes to Africa, selects a set out of a Eurocentric template and proceeds to do a photo shoot. The image becomes a central figure that is syndicated via several Western media outlets, from the New York Times in USA to the Telegraph in UK to the website of the charity organization De-agentification based in Germany. This image becomes reified that the African children are needy. The creation of these singularized narratives serves to place the European idea of childhood as superior to others, as better than the rest. I have seen white poverty in New York. I have seen white poverty in Berlin. And I have seen white poverty in Amsterdam. But this is not showcased when narratives of poverty about children is said in the Western media. Yet, when the West comes to African childhoods, it is often very convenient to have African children marginalized. History has also shown us that this monodirectional depiction of children is not a recent idea. In early colonial times, the use of children was for the comfort of Europeans. Children were not only slaves in the Congo during the Belgian Holocaust, in which about 12 million Congolese people were murdered at the end of the 19th century. The image of children in the West has a past that is full of de-agentification. What futures then do we envision for the children of Africa in the world? What future then has Europe for African children? What future then has Africa for her own children? And what future then exists for children in the world? Europe, and now even China, systematically strips the Democratic Republic of Congo of its resources, as was done in the past. And we, as Africans, are still called upon to look at our future together with the West. What future then is this be? What future then can this be? As I conclude this section, I reiterate what others before me have been saying. The racism that people of black descent and other non-European in Europe is an everyday thing. How are we expected to imagine a common Europe, in Europe, with this racism, or a future of Europe and Africa with these inequalities. The United Nations has shown us to be sometimes and quite often a mouthpiece of the West, and its financial policies have repeatedly been geared towards marginalizing Africa. How are we expected to imagine a common future in it, in its present composition? So then, I'm led to speculate or to say that Europe is a stumbling block to a world that is centered on many continents. Instead of Europe gearing itself for the inevitable world centered on different polaris, Europe increasingly looks inward. This is where there is an urgent, present, and clear danger. This is the increasingly radicalized right-wing and populist West. We see this in the rise of AfD, Alternative for Deutschland, in Germany, the Brexit in UK, and the happening of Trump in USA. And why does France still get away with the ongoing colonial misrule of the so-called Francophone Africa? Why? Why? Well, there is an alternative future. It is a future for all. It is a future of all for all. It is not similar to already the ongoing decayed future in which all is for the West. How to get to this future? We must take stock of the past. However, there is an intentional slowing of reckoning with the past in Europe. Since apology is slow in coming, we now have only to ask of two basic things of Europe. We ask the West to remember that we know our humanity, and we will assert it everywhere. We do also ask for a balancing of the financial ledger books throughout our history with Europe. We too have a dream for our future. We too have a dream that our future will be centered neither on Africa, nor Europe, nor China, nor anywhere else. It will be a future for all. This might look like a dream, but it is a deferred dream. Thank you for listening to me.